Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care. The Haven of Delights was much like its name, enticing yet deceptive. Nestled in the shadowy alleys of Aurelian Space Station, it pulsed with life but emitted an undercurrent of despair. Neon lights hummed like restless spirits, illuminating the flickering flashes of joy and secret sorrow behind its doors. Beings from countless galaxies, tentacled creatures, feline humanoids, and the occasional human, polished their vices and indulged their desires. All were seeking solace in the depths of a fleeting encounter. Kalara sat in a dimly lit corner, her vibrant emerald scales catching the faint light, shimmering with a dampened brilliance. She was a captivating beauty, with luminescent golden eyes that glinted with hidden depths of sorrow. Once a free spirit, an adventurer among her people on the verdant planet of Verith, she was now trapped in the confines of this sordid establishment, her heart rotting as slowly as the days dragged on. Captured by slavers during a raid that shattered her world, Kalara was sold like an object, her worth measured in coin rather than spirit. Each day played out like a broken record, predictable and painful, pulling her deeper into a state of despair. The other girls would offer her hollow words of encouragement, but she could see the staleness in their eyes, the flame of hope extinguished long ago. They were all prisoners of circumstance, bound by chains that no one could see. "Look at that one!" A drunken patron pointed at her from across the room, his voice slurred and crude. "She looks like she fell straight from the skies." Kalara rolled her eyes, but did not respond. Instead, she flashed him a practiced smile that masked her loathing. "I prefer the stars to drunken men with bad breath," she muttered under her breath, allowing her anger to kindle inside. As the evening carried on, she forced herself into the role of the perfect entertainer, lively, charming, and completely unyielding to the depths of her soul's cries. The horrors of her situation were dulled by the alcohol and quick wit of the patrons who flitted in and out of her life like moths drawn to a flame. But tonight felt different somehow. The hum of the brothel felt like a distant echo, almost muted. Kalara raised her gaze towards the far end of the room, captivated by a figure that seemed to part the sea of bodies, drawing attention without effort. He was tall and rugged, a human with tousled hair, radiating an aura of adventure that felt refreshing amid the dreariness. "What's a girl like you doing in a dive like this?" he called, his tone playful as he ambled closer, hands casually tucked into the pockets of his leather jacket. Kalara raised an eyebrow, intrigued. "Wondering what a human like you is doing here," she shot back, her reflex to combat the attraction he sparked. "I could ask the same of half the patrons in this place," he quipped, his smile widening. "But you—" He paused dramatically, gesturing toward her with flair. "You look like you belong among the stars." The energy between them crackled with electric potential, and Kalara felt the stirrings of an emotion long buried within her. He carried a confidence that was intoxicating, mingling courage with mischief, an unusual combination that drew her in. "Maybe I'm lost," she countered, tilting her head in mischief. "It seems I've wandered far from my constellation." Liam laughed, a genuine, rich sound that felt like a gentle caress. "Consider me your guide, then. I promise to keep you away from the drunken men." With that invitation, the years of institutionalized disappointment began to flicker away as sweet hints of hope surged within her. Their banter flowed effortlessly, filled with the lightness of flirtation. As Kalara succumbed to the warmth radiating from him, she couldn't help but think that perhaps Liam could be the answer to her plight. Perhaps they were destined to collide in a universe so vast it could hide her away from Zorak, the brothel owner. But just as hope sparked a flame, cold reality rushed back in. She was still trapped under Zorak's thumb, still in a place that sought to consume her laughter and spirit. With a heavy heart, she reminded herself that she must be cautious. Joy does not come without its price. Yet, amidst the chaos of the brothel, a small voice within her dared to whisper, "Maybe this time it's worth the risk." With each passing night, the brothel became seemingly more alive, yet Kalara felt the darkness thickening around her heart. Liam returned often, his presence brightening her existence, as if he were a comet illuminating the night sky. He brought laughter, stories, and a glimpse of hope that wrapped itself around her like a warm blanket against the cold winds of despair. On their third meeting, the room felt different. The atmosphere was charged with an unspoken tension, a promise hanging in the air, palpable enough to make her pulse race. As patrons drifted in and out of the lounge, Liam casually leaned back against the wall beside her. "So, what's the tale tonight?" he asked, his tone light. But there was curiosity in his eyes. "Life in a brothel," Kalara replied, smirking mischievously. "Just as thrilling as it sounds." He chuckled, a sound that never failed to make her grin. "Sounds like bliss to me. Can I get the VIP treatment?" "Might I remind you," she insisted with playful severity, "that I'm not a tour guide. Wouldn't want to get you lost among drunken fools." They exchanged banter, but as it flowed, Kalara found herself drawn deeper into his gaze. The ease with which they conversed felt so at odds with the brothel's heavy atmosphere, as laughter bubbled between them, freezing time in a moment separate from their realities. Then the conversation shifted. More serious reflections crept in. "You're always running away from something, aren't you?" Kalara asked quietly, her heart pounding as vulnerability clung to her words. "Maybe," he admitted, a flicker of sincerity in those azure depths. "I just want to see every corner of the universe before I grow old and lose my sense of adventure." The confession hung in the air, intertwining their destinies with threads that strengthened with intimacy. As they continued to share snippets of their lives, Kalara unfolded tales of her youth, of flying through the lush forests of Verath, of the warmth of sunlight on her skin as she danced with the wind. "You make it sound so beautiful," Liam mused, a hint of longing in his voice. "What would you give to feel that again?" Kalara paused, her heart aching as she considered that precious freedom lost to darkness. "Everything," she replied honestly. "But my life has become a tragic play. I'm stuck in the wrong act." "No, not a tragic play," Liam said gently. "More like an adventure waiting to unfold. You have the power to write your own story." His encouraging words bore a weight she had long forgotten, and for the first time, Kalara felt the stirrings of rebellion. She wanted more than fleeting moments in dark corners. She wanted a life where she could be free to smile, sing, dance, and be herself. Suddenly, a commotion broke through the laughter. The sound of Zorak, the brothel owner, menacingly addressing another girl in anger. Kalara's stomach churned as the scene unfolded, and she leaned in closer to Liam, her heart racing. "Does this sort of thing happen often?" he asked, concern etched across his brow. She forced a smile, but the warmth of the moment evaporated. "More often than I'd like," she admitted quietly. "It's a reminder of the risks we take here." As the tension rolled away, it was then that Liam's expression turned serious. "If there's ever a time you want to leave, I want to help you," he said softly. Kalara's heart skipped a beat, hope spiraling. "How could you possibly do that?" "I'll find a way. If we're together, we can figure it out," he insisted earnestly. "It's what we do, right? Take risks." In that moment, Kalara felt pulled toward him, the dynamic shifting like galaxies colliding. She searched his gaze, and without a second thought, leaned in, brushing her lips gently against his in a newfound exhilaration of courage. As their kiss deepened, a rush of feeling surged through her, igniting reverberations of hope and potential. But as quickly as it ignited, reality swept back in, a shivering reminder that she was still in the brothel, her life tangled in Zorak's web. But amidst the chaos, she felt something shift in her. No longer was she just a captive. She was a woman with desires and dreams, ignited by the thrill of connection. The flicker of hope glowed brighter now, and deep within her, Kalara made a promise to herself to reclaim the life stolen from her, one daring moment at a time. Days turned into weeks, and hope sprung through the cracks while Kalara's spirit glimmered in the face of discomfort within the brothel's clutches. Her stolen moments with Liam became the highlights of her life, stretching from banter to deeper discussions filled with brilliance and playfulness. They exchanged laughter with ease, each meeting a reminder of the freedom that felt just a breath away. One evening, Liam arrived, a surprised twinkle in his eyes and excitement in his stance. "Tonight," he declared, "you and I are going for an adventure, even if it's just to the back alley." Kalara narrowed her gaze, amusement dancing in her core. An adventure in an alley? Sounds thrilling, she replied, a smirk curving her lips. But with each word, she recognized the changing sense of urgency. Her spirit cried out for escape to reclaim what was lost. I promise it'll be worthwhile, Liam insisted, his voice growing earnest. Let's dare the unknown. With a bemused smile, Kalara felt an intoxicating rush sweep through her. The night held a hint of enchantment, and the idea of breaking free, even momentarily, ignited a fire within. It was a chance to reclaim a shred of her humanity, to dance amidst the stars, even if for only a heartbeat. Hand in hand they slipped past the stunned faces of patrons, into the back alley, the scent of cheap metal mixing with distant aromas of space gas. The sounds of laughter and chaos faded as they reached a small hidden alcove, one that could hardly be called a refuge, yet it pulsed with possibilities. From here, we'll stargaze and plan our escape, Liam exclaimed, flopping down on the floor against the cool wall. Escape, she echoed, leaning against him as warmth enveloped her beneath the stars. From here to where? Anywhere, he replied in earnest. Somewhere where no one knows us, where we can be whoever we want. Kalara's heart thudded louder than the distant machinery of the space station. The shadows cast by the overhead lights were a reminder of all the darkness that lingered in her life. But in that moment, standing beside Liam, her world transformed. Tell me about your dreams, he remarked, his gaze locking onto hers with an intensity that sent shivers down her spine. I've always wanted to travel to the stars of Bastara, she confessed, the name rolling off her tongue with longing. They say the lights are brighter there, and one can feel the pulse of the universe. Then what's stopping you? Liam pressed, his voice low but encouraging, vibrating with possibilities. She paused, feeling the weight of his challenge. Fear, she whispered, allowing herself a moment of vulnerability. Fear that it's too late for me, that I won't find that freedom again. Liam shifted closer, a reassuring hand brushing against hers. You're stronger than you know, Kalara. Sometimes all it takes is one leap of faith. Their hands intertwined, sparks of warmth slipping through her fingers, transforming into something akin to magic. They shared secrets, her dreams and longing intertwined with his tales of adventure and exploration across galaxies that made her heart race in wonder. Time melted away. There, in the stillness, they opened up, revealing pieces of their pasts. Every story knitted tighter the bonds forming between them, a force of nature resisting the currents that sought to drown them. For the first time since Kailara's capture, the thought of fighting for something felt not only possible, but inevitable. As the night deepened, the whispers of their past intertwined with the breaths of their shared future, creating a tapestry woven from courage, desire, and undeniable connection. In the quietude, they shared laughter and hesitant glances, the daring nature of their secret rebellion against the gloom illuminating every corner of their hearts. Kalara leaned in, and as their lips met again, everything beyond faded into nothingness. In that captivating moment, she understood. It wasn't just an escape from the brothel she sought. It was freedom in every sense. A life filled with wild laughter, unquenchable thirsts for adventure, and limitless love. And as they pulled apart, breathless, Kalara smiled, knowing that every moment stolen was worth every risk taken. The glow of the Haven of Delights dimmed into an uncomfortable haze, a sense of foreboding manifesting in the air. Zorak, the brothel's merciless custodian, was no fool. He could sense vulnerability. Reports of the clever human, of Liam and Kalara's apparent closeness, sent chills through the air. One night, Kalara was minding her own business in the corner, when Zorak's voice boomed through the halls, filled with rage. "What do you think you're doing, girl?" Kalara's heart froze, the color draining from her face as she turned to see him approaching, towering and full of menace. The hope and warmth shared with Liam felt shadowed beneath the owner's cruel scrutiny. I was just... Kalara stumbled over her words, fear tightening around her throat as Zorak towered above. "I didn't mean to overstep." "Overstep? You're making a fool out of this establishment. You think because you're pretty, you can take liberties," he snarled, his multiple eyes narrowing dangerously. "No!" A voice surged from behind, Interrupting Zorak's tirade, Liam appeared, firm and steady, a protective light that warmed Kalara even as dread pulsed through her veins. "You shouldn't talk to her like that." "Who the hell do you think you are?" Zorak thundered angrily, turning his focus to Liam, simmering with aggression. "Just someone who doesn't think it's right to treat her like a possession," Liam challenged, the persistence in his voice unwavering amidst the tempest brewing before him. Kalara's breath caught in her throat, the tension crackling with fear and disbelief. Would Zorak have the power to strike Liam down and send them all spiraling into darkness? As her heart thudded in her chest, she felt the weight of her choices upon her. This was not the time for recklessness. This was the time to breathe. "Stay out of this, human," Zorak hissed, staring at Liam with venomous contempt. "Your kind is not worthy of crossing paths with mine. You don't know what you're delving into." Liam stood tall, his expression unwavering, determination etched on his face. "Kalara deserves better than this. You're holding her captive, and that's not right by any stretch of the imagination." The encounter sent a chill down Kalara's spine. The tension between Zorak and Liam felt like the edge of a knife, precarious at best. She bit her lip, battling the swirl of turmoil within. Her heart urged her to step forward, to stand beside Liam earthbound, to defy the power that sought to keep her caged. Yet, Zorak sneered, his voice dripping with malice, "Step away from her, or you'll find out how bad it can be for an intruder." Kalara's heart sank. She had fought so hard for hope, yet here it hovered like a specter between them, a reminder of the realities they faced. Zorak's threats hung heavy in the air as she trembled, realizing that there was no escape without further implications. "We can leave this place together," Liam suggested boldly, although the tremor in his voice gave the weight of seriousness. "But you have to let Kalara go." "For a foolish dream? You think you can waltz out of here? I'll have you thrown in the cells," Zorak spat, taking a step forward. In that brief moment, everything shifted. All the bravado drained from Kalara, forced into stark reality. "No, please," she exclaimed, heart racing as she stepped between them. "This isn't worth it. You don't have to do this." Liam turned to her, confusion mixed with concern written across his brow. "Kalara, don't." "I can't hold on to hope if I drag you down with me," she argued, voice quivering as she confronted Zorak. "He means nothing to you, and I can't be the cause of your pain." But Zorak scoffed, relishing the sudden vulnerability. "You will remember your place, girl. I will not tolerate disobedience." The tension blossomed as Liam reached for her hand, grounding her in unspoken promises. "Let's go, Kalara. We can figure this out together." But the weight of the confrontation hung heavily in the air. In that fragile moment, Kalara felt the fierce protection emanating from Liam clash with the reality that she had to maintain her strength. All at once, Zorak's anger erupted. In one swift motion, he lunged toward Liam, the moment blurring into an explosion of chaos as the entire scene spiraled into turmoil. The swiftness of the confrontation pinned them all in uncertain darkness, a battle of will and determination that sent shockwaves rippling through her. "Kalara!" Liam shouted, but the world spun into action, and in that moment of uncertainty, she realized she needed to be the beacon of hope, not a mere pawn in someone else's game. "No!" she yelled firmly, confronting Zorak with an energy she had never prayed to possess. Things crumbled as the beasts of emotion collided. The stakes felt higher. The rage around her echoed with the pulse of her DNA, igniting her resolve, conjuring hope against the shadows that threatened to consume her. In that charged moment, everything shifted. She quickly lit down the path of rebellion that they had whispered about. An escape, she thought, allowing a spark of determination to flounder against the darkness. Fear had cemented itself in the air, thick with charged anticipation, as the tension from their confrontation remained palpable. Zorak's rage hung like a specter, leaving Kalara in a tumultuous whirl of confusion and longing. Determined to take charge of her destiny, she felt the suffocating weight lift as adrenaline surged through her veins. "We need to leave, now," Liam urged, his voice firm as he clutched her hand, guiding her through the pandemonium that surrounded them. The weight of urgency propelled them towards a back exit, a previously uncharted path that signified their fledgling freedom. "Quickly!" Kalara instructed, her heart racing as she glanced one last time over her shoulder. Zorak was storming toward them, furious and intent on reclaiming control. They pushed through the exit door, the icy air shockingly fresh against her skin, a stark contrast to the stale ambiance inside the brothel. They found themselves in a dimly lit alley, tucked away from the chatter and rhythmic pulse of the Haven of Delights. "This way," Kylara cried, orienting herself toward the service exit where she could access the hangar bay. Pleasure vessels came and went, and with any luck they might find one to escape. With the shadows clinging to their heels, they sprinted down the alley. Kalara pushed the thoughts of Zorak's rage aside. Fear no longer coursed through her, though she could hear echoes of his enraged bellow in the distance. Freedom danced tantalizingly close now. The inkling had ignited a thrill within her. As they rounded the corner toward the hangar, they stumbled upon two other girls, Ilara, soft-spoken and gentle, and Maris, fierce and determined. "Kalara!" they exclaimed, surprise and relief brightening their faces amidst the turbulent chaos. "They're coming after us," Liam warned, scanning the area. "We've got to get to the ship, and fast." "Let's just go," Maris gestured, urgency reflected in her eyes as they dashed toward the ship docked at the edge of the hangar. The tension ratcheted up significantly as Liam paused, fixated on the access panel. "I'll handle this. Help the others get ready to board." He spoke with authority as his fingers flew across the console, manipulating the controls at lightning speed. Kalara swept a glance around the hangar. Several ships were parked nearby. A distant roar echoed, and it sent chills down her spine. Zorak wouldn't let them leave without a fight. "Come on," she shouted, igniting the energy as they bolted from the shadows with determination on their heels. The fear of discovery pushed them onward, and in their eyes, they burned with shared defiance, fueled by the strength of survival. As the girls boarded, Liam worked frantically at the control panel while Kalara held her breath, the tension exuding from every crease in her body. "I need you to strap in. Let's go," he barked, urgency coursing through his words. The ship's engines sputtered to life, a low growl resonating within, stitching chaos with a semblance of hope. The thrumming of life pulsed in their veins. Panic filled the ship as Kalara and the others settled in, the reality of escape sending electric pulses throughout her body. "Are we ready?" Kalara asked, tension fizzing through her limbs as they strained against the confines of their seating. Liam called from the front, determination etched into every muscle. "Buckle up, we've got this." But as their craft pulled away from the dock, the sirens wailed, and Kalara could hear Zorak's fury echo behind them. "They're coming!" she screamed, adrenaline manifesting into raw power. The ship lurched forward as Liam deftly navigated their escape, veins filled with fire. They erupted from the hangar, a rush of wind and stars greeted them, the passage to freedom cracking open like a cocoon. "Hold on," he yelled. The ship jerked violently, swerving to avoid blaster shots that perforated the darkness. Kalara squeezed her eyes shut for a second, envisioning the stars above her head, drawing strength from their brilliance. They were on the verge of breaking free, and it was hers to claim. "Almost there, just a bit more," Liam exclaimed, focus set as he maneuvered the controls with deft courage. With every burst of adrenaline pulsing through the ship's frame, Kalara felt her determination solidifying, a stubborn refusal to surrender. "We have to get to the coordinates I've set," he shouted above the roar, "and I need some cover." Maris and Ilara hurriedly swung into action, securing their weapons, the resolve shining in their eyes against the backdrop of uncertainty. Kalara grabbed one too, feeling the weight of power shift in her hands. They surged into the void of space, the distance between the brothel and freedom widening with each heartbeat. Zorak's men pursued them, lighting flashes illuminating their path like falling stars. The moment felt poised, ripping itself away from any predictability, and as they stiffened against the attack, Kalara felt the tide turning. "Kalara, aim for the left," Liam shouted, a fire igniting in his blue eyes. She steadied her aim, determination painted across her face, and pulled the trigger as bright bolts erupted toward their pursuers. The initial explosion set the shard of adrenaline to warp speed. The palpable thrill of liberation surged through her limbs, and in the whirlwind she relinquished her fear, yielding utterly to freedom's embrace. As the ship surged further into the cosmos, their reality shifted and the stars called to them. They had escaped the chains that had bound her for too long. "Where do we go now?" Maris asked, breathless with excitement, tension morphing into joy. "Anywhere," Kalara replied, a smile breaking across her face. Together, they had learned what it could mean to reclaim hope. The buzzing of the afterburners resonated within the walls of the ship as Kalara collapsed against the cool metal seat, heart racing with remnants of adrenaline. They'd broken free, stormed out of the darkness into the infinite expanse above. It was exhilarating and terrifying, a contrast from the confines of the brothel that had become synonymous with despair. Beside her, Liam worked steadily at the controls, his confidence grounding her as they navigated through the swirling cosmos. "You did great back there," he said, glancing over his shoulder with a radiant smile. "I knew you had it in you." Kalara couldn't suppress the grin spreading across her face. "I had to. I was tired of living someone else's life." As he stitched their path across stars she had only dreamed of seeing, they shared a fleeting glance, and time nearly suspended in a heartbeat, feeling the weight of their shared achievements open a doorway to something new. "I don't think I'll ever get used to this," she marveled, casting her gaze out into the shimmering expanse. "The feeling of freedom." "Then don't," Liam said softly, an earnestness in his voice. "Embrace it. The universe is waiting for both of us to discover it." They powered forward, slicing through the dark of space as the ship's consoles glowed with possibilities. Kalara leaned back, allowing herself to dream again. The expansive canvas of the universe opened before her like an intricate map of wonder. "What's our next destination?" Ilara asked from her seat, a mix of excitement and curiosity brimming beneath the surface. "Wherever we want," Liam replied, a sense of freedom hanging golden in the air. "We could go to the Nebula of Wonders," Maris chimed in. "I heard there are beings who heal the scars of the heart, an entire planet dedicated to peace and healing." Kalara felt warmth suffuse her heart at the thought, a thrill coursing through her spirit. To seek healing sounded divine. "Or we could go to Bastara," Kalara said, her voice gaining strength with every word. "There's so much I've always longed to see." "Then that's where we're headed," Liam declared, his courage surging. The energy in the cabin hummed with newfound resolve as dreams ignited hope anew, stitching together shared aspirations as they headed toward the unknown. As stars whirled around them, Kalara could feel the weight of her past slowly unwinding. "Every star I see is a reminder that I can reclaim my story," she whispered to Liam, her heart steadying beneath layers of yearning and hope. His gaze met hers, tenderness enveloping the space between them. "I'll be right by your side in every journey we take," he promised, warmth igniting within her. As they veered off into star-speckled skies that stretched as far as they dared to dream, hope blossomed fully within Kalara. In that moment, she realized it wasn't just about birthing new adventures. It was about embracing love, friendship, and the freedoms they had fought so hard to claim. Together, they would carve their path through the cosmos, illuminating the unknown and scripting their fates amidst the resonant songs of the stars. Together, they were no longer bound by the darkness of the past. They clutched destiny in their hands, ready to shed the old skins of captivity to unveil new lives filled with laughter, adventure, and honor. "Ready?" Liam asked, the engines rumbling beneath them. "Ready," she replied fiercely, and with their hearts aligned, they surged forward into the vastness of the universe. Two souls entwined, racing toward a future they would forge on their own terms.